Hey everybody, welcome Brooklyn Squad Real Life Drama where we work with real life crimes. Hi Kathy B, how are you? I hope everybody is having a blessed day today. Please share and like this video. If you're new, welcome. I've been expecting you. You know, we deal with a lot of cases on this platform, and today we are working on another horrific crime case. We have a grieving father that's going to be sharing his daughter's story. So I want everybody to please just do what you do to every other parent that comes on my platform. Just love them and keep them in prayer. All right, I'm going to bring him up. Hello.
Hello.
How
Thank
are
you for having me for Kaylene. Thank you
you?
very much.
Welcome. You're welcome. Now, I don't usually I have like an accent thing, so when it comes to say people's names, I get it all mixed up. So it's just no
Not a problem.
disrespect. Okay, so I might say some names wrong, but I do apologize. But her name is Kaylene Owens. Am I saying that right?
Kaylene Oehling.
Olin.
Yes.
Okay, see, I'm getting there, y'all. I'm getting there.
Yes.
And I was looking at the posts that I had shared, and we're going to get into all of that because I'm looking at corruption.
Yes.
I'm looking at a lot of things, but first off, I want you to tell us, who are you?
My name is Jason Oehling. I'm actually new to social media. My wife and I were old fashioned, but whenever Kaylene went missing, we know since they don't do missing persons on milk cartons anymore.
Mm.
So we decided to go online to be a bigger voice. And um, since Kaylene's been missing in now remains found, I retired so I can help out other families with their missing and murdered loved ones. And about a year and a half ago, I actually ended up getting into politics so I can be a bigger voice for the missing and murdered.
Oh, wow. Okay. Has any other activists help you?
Yes, I'm national with one of my nonprofit organizations, and I have other advocates that I work with and deal with from across the nation. There has been a few from pretty much a half a year into whenever Kaylene went originally missing, has been friends with me and guided me. And now for I'm based out of Western Pennsylvania,
Mm.
and I actually have three canines. One is actually an air sniffing dog, and the other two are actually tracking dogs. I got everywhere between the drones. Eh, Pretty much, if you need it for searching, I own it because I bought everything myself while Kaylene was missing. So I
Wow.
wanted to make sure I had and I'm a retired firefighter and graduated the Allegheny County Fire Academy. So I have like search and rescue background, also uh, river water rescue certified. So
Wow.
pretty much in the beginning, whenever Kaylene went missing, I went on dives myself
Mm.
and everything. So I just who I am is basically I am there to help not just Kaylene, but for others that are in the same situation as Kaylene, to be a voice in everything else.
Can you tell us a little bit about her?
Yes. Kaylene, she was born August 6th, 1999. That was a Friday. And one of the main reasons why I always remembered it was a Friday is because later on that night after she was born, I was holding her watching Friday Night SmackDown because I love wrestling, and Aileen in the Kaylene, Haley, and of course everyone who follows me now sees my youngest Elena. We loved wrestling. Haley, she doesn't love it anymore. I'm not sure if she ever did, or she just did it because Kaylene and I did stuff like that.
uh,
Um, so I always remembered it was a Friday. Kaylene, she was pretty much a tomboy growing up, um, until, of course, she started hitting her teenage years. Then she was turning into a young lady. She loved working on cars with me. At the time, I was a general contractor. She would help me build stuff. One of the biggest, one of my biggest faults that I ever did was for her birthday one year. I got her a pink tool set and kept hearing hammering, go up to her bedroom, and she had real nice oak, beautiful finished bunk beds. And needless to say, she had trim nails going all the way down the ladder. I
oh,
didn't even say anything. You're going to hear me mention a lot of Kaylene and Haley because they are my two daughters that were biological 100% siblings. They
okay,
weren't half siblings.
right.
And I had custody of them. I got custody of them back in 2008. So, as a single father at the time, well, anyways, I didn't even say anything. So I just went downstairs into my garage. I got a nice 4 foot 2x4, walked up, back up to her bedroom, threw it down on the ground, and I said, Kaylene, please, if you ever feel the need to keep putting nails and stuff in wood, please put it in this. So, but Kaylene, she never really liked school. She wasn't a book person. I mean, she liked going to school because she loved seeing her friends and stuff, but
Right.
she wasn't a book person. Um, she loved doing like nails, babysitting. Actually, whenever she went missing, she was actually babysitting her younger siblings and visiting her mom. Um, but she was very, very outgoing. Um, she adored and loved the heck out of my wife. Um, Kaylee, she always called her, of course, mom and everything. And my wife, whenever at the time I was working full time, so Robin, she was the one always taking Kayleen to her dentist appointments and stuff and doctor's appointments for me because I was working even into her young adult years because her doctor's always been up here where I live. She went missing up in the Etna area. A lot of people think she was from Etna. Her mom's from Etna. Um, like on the or on the death certificate through Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, Kaylene resided up here in Lawrence County, Wilmington Township, out of my house. But yeah, Kaylene, she I always use this phrase. She loved to be loved.
Oh,
And she always just wanted everybody to accept her and everything. Unfortunately, at times, obviously, it got her into trouble and everything. Always putting a guard down and stuff. But in our backyard, we have a huge creek and everything. The summer before Kaylene went missing, we would always go tubing down the creek. And we're in the woods and everything up in Wilmington Township. But our creek goes all the way down. Our creek goes all the way down to the city, doesn't it?
Oh, wow.
The city, like not Pittsburgh, but in the city of Newcastle. So but you have to wait till after it floods a little, or else you're going to be getting stuck in rocks and everything else.
Because you're not, I'm upstate New York too, so I know what. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, my wife and I, we travel to New York all the time. And I actually have multiple cases in New York. So we're familiar. I'm familiar with the New York. And, but yeah, Kaylene, she loved doing like arts and crafts.
Oh, she did.
And of course, loved animals. Our last argument was my golden retriever, as she would say, her dog. It was a family dog. Well, anyways, I had her cremated, and in November and in December, Kaylene just kept fighting with me and kept fighting with me. I want ashes. I want ashes. Didn't, of course, want to tell her, because she has younger siblings, that Santa Claus was doing something special with the ashes and personalizing for each of the kids with a picture in a frame with ashes in it. So, of course, we went up December 25th in 2019 to actually, on Christmas, to go pick up Haley, not Kaylene. We were picking up Haley. Kaylene wanted to stay up there with her boyfriend at the time. And I handed Kaylene a gift. I said, here, just here. Open this gift. It's the only one you're getting until you come back up to the house. Then you'll get the rest of your gifts. She's like, well, what is this? I said, just open it. As soon as she opened it, she got hysterical. I looked right at her and I said, now you see why you weren't getting ashes yet? I wasn't going to keep you from having ashes. So, absolutely, in Kaylene's casket, she was cremated, but I got her a casket. And in her casket, I actually put my urn of Daisy in with her.
Can you tell us what happened? What happened to your beautiful princess?
Kaylene, she was not that I knew. Unfortunately, I found out too late. Kaylene was dating a convicted felon.
Okay.
I don't know if you're fine with me naming names.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Michael Mano. And I didn't know about this. And they had a rocky relationship. And I guess they broke up around November. And most of my family, besides my generation and younger, is actually deceased. Both my parents, all my grandparents, aunts, uncles. So
I'm sorry.
He kept jewelry of my mom's that was Kaylene's. So on January 9th, 2020, to what I gathered from the police telling me, they were messaging back and forth each other, and she kept saying that she wanted all the stuff back and everything. And he said, only if you come meet me alone. Now, Kaylene did not drive. She didn't have a license, and she didn't work. Now, she finally gave in later on that night. It was prior to she left her friend's house, because I guess she was down the street from her mom's and was going to go there the next morning. She posted, now Michael Mano was on probation at the time with 5 felonies. He was out on bail with few more charges at the time. And Kaylene posted an hour before they ended up meeting up with each other. She posted, Michael Mano robbed an ATM at a laundromat in Penn Hills, which I have her last message from my other daughter giving it to me, and I have, of course, that up online also. Now, within the hour, Kaylene's Facebook got deactivated. The post was taken down. Now, Kaylene or whoever, well, I'm not going to say who, she was with Mano. He's already, Michael Mano, he already admitted to the police, and both their phones pinged and low were written together. Now, it all got taken down and everything else. It was either her or him messaged her mom at 12:36 a.m. I think it was either 12:36 or 1:36. I apologize.
No apology.
I'm having a brain fart at the moment.
It's okay. You don't need to apologize.
Anyway, saying I will be there for 9:30 a.m. Well, that was the last Kaylene's phone was ever pinged, and it was shut off at the time, broken, whatever.
She was sending that message to her mother that she was going to be there at 9:30.
Yes, because
she was supposed to babysit, right?
Correct. The next morning, she was supposed to babysit her younger siblings.
Right. I read that. Right. Because we've done some videos of her.
Okay. Now, 9:45 a.m. hit. My ex called Tiffany, Kaylene's mother. Kaylene didn't show up. Show up to what? She was supposed to babysit her younger siblings. Now, I knew that was odd because Kaylene could be fighting with me, could be fighting with my wife, could be fighting with her mom. But when it came to her younger siblings, she'll be there. So she said she was going to make a couple of phone calls to Mano and everything else. And supposedly he messaged back to her that Kaylene's fine. She just wanted to have nothing to do with any of us ever again. That's been his whole excuse this whole time. Because now, we did not know that you can file someone missing by law. You can, cops, law enforcement have this wrong. Everybody listening, I'm telling you what's national.
Don't wait.
Do not wait. Every second counts.
That's right.
Police will tell you, no, you have to wait on an adult. No, 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 no. Missing persons cases are supposed to be from the minute you file, they are supposed to be investigated just like a murder case. The first 48 hours is the most important. This is national. We did not know that at the time.
And that's so important to know.
And we were told we had to wait 48 hours, and we did. So, Etna Borough Police, we waited the 48 hours.
Yes, Amber. Amber's here to support you. You can see the you can see the comment right here, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up. I just didn't want to interrupt him.
She's actually my vice president for my organization. Okay. So Tiffany filed, since she lived up there in Etna, filed at Etna Police a missing persons report. I followed up with an email. Not because I'm an hour and a half away, because I'm paralegal certified, and I know that you need everything in black and white, pretty much. So I followed up in an email and everything else. We found out that Etna Borough Police did not put Kaylene down as missing in the computer system or filed her through NCI NamUs, until March 13th, which is now 2 months and 3 days after Kaylene's missing. So no one except us family was looking for Kaylene. This is where it all starts. I'm contacting the borough of Etna out of the state of Pennsylvania's manager. They don't have a mayor. It's considered like a manager. I'm contacting Representative Lindsey Williams at the time, District Attorney Steven Zappala. I'm messaging everybody when I found out, because the first group that was going to be helping me refused to help unless there was a police report.
What?
I mean, I didn't think anything of it. I said, well, we found her missing, everything else. So they called up the police station and called us back and said, there's no police report. I said, wait a minute. Then I got a message back from the district attorney, Steven Zappala's own detective, stating Kaylene was not down on NamUs. So they called Etna Police. By the time they called Etna Police, within 2 hours, Kaylene was finally put down as missing. They never put her down as missing. So now all these months, I'm hem-hauling trying to get the case transferred to county. They refuse. Michael Mano, he gets pulled over, and since he's still on probation, they end up putting him in jail in mid-April of 2020, waiting trial for one of his other cases. In the meantime, Etna Borough finally serves their first warrant at Michael Mano's premises. Now, his girlfriend, which I think they're married now, is there, mother of his child, and they go ahead to serve the warrant, check the premises, everything else. Now, Kaylene has mentioned in the past, even told Etna Police, that Michael Mano has locked her in his detached garage and padlocked her in. Now, When they served the warrant, according to Penn Hills Police Department, because it was Penn Hills jurisdiction, they had to go with Aetna to serve the warrant. According to Penn Hills, Sherry, Mano's girlfriend or wife, stated to them that they had a vicious dog in the garage. They could not search the garage, and they did not.
That's
Which,
crazy. I'm sorry.
normally it's either you detain the dog or we're going to put the dog down by law. They have a warrant to search the garage as well. Kaylene at that point, she could have been in that garage. So finally, I started doing a lot of him hauling, screaming online and everything else. Finally, June 15th, 2020, Aetna Borough transferred Kaylene's case to Allegheny County Homicide Unit. So I thought, okay, we're finally going to get somewhere.
Right.
Now, I'm talking to them throughout the year and everything else and what have you, and trying to get together searches, working with a nonprofit organization. And in the meantime, the nonprofit organization kept the CEO of the nonprofit organization kept pointing the finger at me. She even came up to mine and my wife's house. We're on 15.6 acres. She came up to mine and my wife's house to say she needed to talk to us about the case. Later on, we found out because she had another organization search her premises, okay? Which I always welcome it.
Right.
Well, in the meantime, now I get aggravated. I call up Sergeant Dolphy at Allegheny Police Department, and I said, I want a polygraph. I left in a message. He calls me back. He goes, you're not a suspect. You never was, and you never will be. I said, I don't care. I want a polygraph. And I told him the situation. I said, there's people now going out there online. Of course, there's cases where people say parents are involved. And there are some cases parents are involved.
Right.
So finally, I got one set up and everything else. It was February 23rd, 2021. I wasn't driving at the time. The police came an hour and a half. Allegheny County came an hour and a half, got me. We went down, took the polygraph, had a meeting afterwards with Kaylene's case. They brought me back home. So I did that just to prove a point. Well, a couple months later, Michael Mano gets on a thread online with my 17-year-old at the time and I. He sends me nude photos of Kaylene.
What?
Oh, you never seen all these news yet? I'll send them to you.
Okay. Send it. Yeah, you could text
In the meantime,
wow.
a couple days later, I'm calling the cops. They can't do anything because I don't know what the heck their excuse was.
Mm-hmm.
In the meantime, he sends it to my 17-year-old. So finally, I call up the high school police officer, Aetna Borough, because that's where Haley was staying at the time, in Allegheny County, all three of them, to make sure they're all in the same. But needless to say, he was finally charged with 4 counts in 1 count corruption of minors. He was in jail for, Michael Manno was in jail for 11 months awaiting for the hearing because they had a detainer on him because he was on probation.
Right.
He pleaded no contest to the corruption of minors, which is his 4th conviction of corruption of minor. You're talking about someone who Michael Manno's been convicted of, and it's all public knowledge, statutory sexual assault because he pleaded down. The charge was right, but he pleaded down. Arson, multiple thefts. Like I said, the one that he sent Kaylene's nudes to my 17-year-old was his 4th corruption of minor. He's been charged. They're all convictions. He's been charged with organized crimes, all kinds of crap. All of this is just in the state of Pennsylvania. And he is actually a 13-time convicted felon just in the state of Pennsylvania. Well, anyways, he pleaded no contest to that charge. Now, here's where it really gets interesting. That is the exact same that he pleaded no contest, and his statement in court was, this is where now I'm battling with the DEA, Allegheny County DEA.
And you're still searching for your daughter?
No, I'm getting there. Her remains been found.
At this time, okay.
Yeah. But here's the catch. At that time, before he was arrested and put in jail, at the time he was sending me nudes, he sends me a whole thread that he killed Kaylene. Too bad no one knows where she's at.
What?
Now, according to the Allegheny County District Attorney's Office, Steven Zapala and his assistant district attorney, they weren't filing charges on him until Kaylene was found. Okay? So now Michael Manno's out of jail. He got time served plus 1 year probation. Well, during that 1 year probation, March 19th, 2023, Kaylene's remains were found. It didn't go public because the coroner had to do what the coroner had to do. It was on the news, not saying it was a female, male, everything else. But the next morning, March 20th, 2023, I got a phone call from Sergeant Todd Dolphy at Allegheny County Homicide Unit. And he told me, he said, before you find out, don't know whenever the news is going to mention this, but a small medium brawl was found with the remains. You might want to go check on all of this. Her remains were found in the Pittsburgh, Leamington. And he's telling me this, and I'm like, where's that at? So I had to Google all of it. So I go to Pittsburgh Zone 5 Police Department, and I told them who I was, and I told them why I was there. And he's saying to me, well, I don't know what you're talking about. That's the information isn't even out, everything else. And I looked right at him and I said, excuse me, sir, don't you think that I'm down here and I know that you guys found a small medium brawl also with the remains? Don't you think, obviously, I was called to come down here? I need to talk to who's in charge of the remains case. So once I said that, he sent me to the Pittsburgh headquarters, and I was talking to Detective Clifton. Haley, mother-daughter, she sent me the live Kaylene had before she went out the night she went missing. So I had a picture of what exactly Kaylene was wearing.
Okay.
So as I'm sitting there in the conference room with Detective Clifton from Pittsburgh Police, he said to me, he said, "Can you describe what she was wearing? Like she went missing." And I told him flat out, I said, "I'll just show you a picture of what she was wearing." Well, some of Kaylene's clothing was found. Wasn't just a bra. Of course, since the remains were more than 3 years old and everything else, it was damaged, tore, everything else at this point. But I knew pretty much the remains were Kaylene until the coroner finally said it was Kaylene on March 24th, 2023. But I already knew pretty much on the 20th. So now it goes out everywhere. All the news medias are calling me, want to set up news and everything else. And I said, okay. And they said, we'd like to set it up where Kaylene's remains were found. And I said, okay, and everything else. So later on, I'm sitting there because I went into Pittsburgh again on the 24th, and I was just sitting there by the river in Sharpsburg. And finally, it's like 2 hours before going to be going on the news and everything else. Finally, I called up the one news lady, and I said to Lauren at KDKA, I said, I got a problem. She goes, what's that? I said, I don't know where I'm going. I said, I don't know where Kaylene's remains were found. I said, the news is told the 1200 block of Washington Boulevard, but I do know it was in that vicinity because Kaylene was found in the woods. So I didn't know. So needless to say, they guided me where I was meeting up with them because we weren't meeting over the hillside and everything else in the woods. So
Amber said that I asked when he found out because another body was found nearby. I found out the 21st.
That I don't remember. The body that was found was actually in the river, and that was actually a body. Oh, that I didn't know.
Oh, okay.
Well, so after the news conference, I stated to the Pittsburgh police, can myself and my children and can we go over the hill where Kaylene was found so we can lay roses? Oh, yeah, it's not a crime scene. Not a problem. I said, oh, not a crime scene, but like, okay, maybe they got everything done.
Oh.
So my oldest daughter and I, her friend, we go over the hill and everything else. And we found the exact area because they still had the skull marker. So I knelt down and I'm moving like branches and stuff away. And my oldest daughter is standing maybe 4 feet from me. And she gets hysterical and starts crying, which is understandable.
Right.
But all I hear is, am I stepping on my baby sister?
Oh my God.
I said, what? Now, my phone, I only had 2%. Her phone was already dead. My oldest and I found more remains of my daughter that was left behind by the police. The coroner tried saying that they were animal bones. Now, I told the coroner, I said, I hope you are not trying to cover anything up for Allegheny County in the Pittsburgh police, because do you realize I went live with this, and where I'm in politics is a different county. I already sent the remains, the pictures of the remains to my county. 3 days later, he calls back, Nelson, and he said it was Kaylene's forearm, shoulder bone, and I guess they also found Kaylene's toe.
Oh my God.
On the 25th, needless to say, they transferred the remains case over to Allegheny County. Now, I've been going back and forth with the mayor's office, Mayor Ed Gainey, including the Pittsburgh chief of police, because none of them are doing anything about, like, my daughter's remains as evidence in her murder case. That is mishandling evidence, is what that is.
Sure is.
Stuff like that can foul up a court hearing. Well, anyways, they're ignoring my calls now and everything else, of course, and everything else. And finally, I had a meeting with, it was about 3 weeks ago, maybe a month ago, with the Allegheny County District Attorney who's handling Kaylene's case and the detective who is handling Kaylene's case at Allegheny County Homicide Unit. I took my daughter, Haley, to that meeting, and since we were told they weren't going to charge him until Kaylene was found, so, well, now what's your excuse? Kaylene's been found over a year ago. Now, according to the assistant district attorney, they're waiting to see if there is a living witness that witnessed Mano kill my daughter. Now, there's multiple motives. From Kaylene ratted him out that night for committing another felony, to Kaylene was pregnant and told him, I have in a message that she was going to tell Sherry, his living girlfriend, that she was pregnant.
By his babe.
Which is also more motive.
Right. I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah. So, in the meantime, of course, now I'm getting into it with Allegheny County Police, which I've always stuck up for on the news and everything else, and the district attorney. And so I'm heated after I leave this, because now I'm basically told Kaylene's case is a cold case, which is from police misconduct from the go from Etna Borough that never even found my daughter as missing. Didn't even investigate that she was missing. Well, now that I'm into politics, I was able to make a few phone calls now and I have some things investigated. We discovered through Commonwealth of Pennsylvania and the district attorney's office and the police station is aware of this. Michael Mano, convicted felon, Michael Mano, he is a paid state informant through Commonwealth of Pennsylvania.
Ooh. I read
Now,
that.
guess what? Kaylene's remains were found within yards from Michael Mano's father's abandoned land,
I read
which
that.
is public knowledge also. But, like I said, the Department of Justice uncovered in their investigation, because I told the district attorney and the police officer, you guys are being investigated. And of course, he's like, by who? I said, I'm not at liberty to tell you. You're being investigated. Who cops that are trying to, okay. And then whenever we mention about the police misconduct at Etna or the mishandling of the evidence in Pittsburgh police, according to Detective Dale with Allegheny County Police Department, people make mistakes. This mistake is having a murderer walk free among everybody.
Right. That's right.
That's not a light mistake.
That's right.
I'm not against police and law enforcement. But this mistake, what's it going to do now? Now a murderer is out on the street, can murder any one of us or any one of our children.
That's right. And with all the felonies he got, I'm surprised he's walking. Well,
Like I
because
said, that's just in the state of Pennsylvania. He's been convicted in Virginia, Florida, Georgia. There's a couple other states. I don't have the knowledge of all. I don't have the capability of getting his criminal record in all states. Just a few.
Right.
So, needless to say, all of this is one of the biggest reasons, not just because of Kaylene, but reason why I got into politics, so I can also help out other families, that this doesn't happen to other families.
Right. I was going to ask you that too, yeah.
Now, I hammer them, of course, everybody knows this, I hammer them online. Bad. I don't care. One, it's my First Amendment. Two, it's not like I'm defamation of character or anybody, because it's all true. I have all paper trail to prove everything. I don't know.
They did it wrong. They messed up big time.
The whole
corruption. Big corruption. Let me ask you a question.
Not a problem.
Because I have wrote a few things down. What are your most frustrated parts of the criminal justice system?
I'll say right here. Since I've witnessed 3 different police departments involved, a borough, a city, and a county, where the county is pretty much turning their cheek on what other police departments did wrong. So to me, that makes them as bad as a cop officer, if they're turning their cheek knowing that they did wrong.
Mm-hmm. You're right about that.
I was most disappointed. When I left that office, and Sergeant Dolphy, I always talked highly of Sergeant Dolphy. We talked once a week, everything else. Even in that meeting, I even messaged him, texted him. I said, I really think you should be over in this meeting. An hour later when I left that meeting, I said, F you, Todd. I didn't call him Sergeant Dolphy. I said, F you, Todd. But I had it spelled out. Because, I called and told everything on the phone. But they had me drive up there an hour and a half away, also to pick up my daughter, just tell me my daughter's case is cold because of their screw-ups. I said, F you, Todd. Because I'm local. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I said because I'm vocal. I don't hold back anymore.
I know that's right. And you shouldn't have to.
Trust me, believe it or not, I used to be quiet. I used to be quiet. But I'm fighting for her and others.
Wow. He not only took one life because she was pregnant also.
That's the other thing. So whenever I told the assistant district attorney and he said, well, did she ever go to the doctors to get it verified? I said, no. I said, she never got a chance to make her doctor's appointment. I said, but here's the thing. Michael Mano stated online Kaylene's pregnant to one of their friends. Kaylene's pregnant, but don't mention it to anybody. He acknowledged he did double murder. He knew she was pregnant. He acknowledged it.
Damn it.
There was even private messages between him and a other mutual friend of theirs stating that Kaylene was pregnant. So he knew.
When the I don't know how to say it right, but how did
they end up identifying Kaylene, the remains?
Yeah.
Actually dental, because the remains were there so long on the hill. See, the reason why the people that went ahead and found Kaylene's remains walked the same path for years. I guess they're hunters. Now, in 2022, there was a landslide. And on that landslide is actually how Kaylene's remains were actually exposed. So it was right on the border of still the hill in the landslide. So, but for how long Kaylene's remains were buried and everything else through dental. They got, even though I thought since I gave them Kaylene's dental records,
right,
I guess they had to do the proper channel and just get a warrant anyways out here. Because I willingly, of course, gave them anything they needed.
Right.
But they needed to get a warrant out here to get her dental records. But that's how Kaylene was identified, was through the dental records.
Gotcha. Wow.
Because, of course, they can't identify her as just the clothing.
I wrote a few other stuff down. Let me see. What would be some of your suggestions to give other families to face their problems in situations like this?
Well, one thing, like I said, most important in the beginning, that someone goes missing, never wait. If a police station tells you you have to,
That's right.
No.
That's right.
Police station, and I'm also fighting to get law enforcement educated on this. I want nationally every police department educated on this. Don't go ahead and listen to. I'm laughing because whenever my wife goes to look up something medical for me, I always ask her, "Did you ask Dr. Google?" So what I'm getting at is,
that's me.
On like social media, don't go ahead and just go ahead and listen to this person or that person, because sometimes you're going to be steered wrong. First, most important, foul report. second and foremost, get your child, your adult child, your aunt, uncle, friend, whatever, get their face out there as fast and as much as possible. One advice that I wish I figured and everything else, go on social media and just type in the word missing or murdered. A lot of groups and pages will come up.
Yeah.
Thousands. And everything else. And I just make sure that you get as much exposure out there as you can is most important.
Yeah. I agree with that. You got to keep the face out there. How has this affected you?
I'd be lying if I said I want to continue going on. Doctors know that. A lot of people tell me, oh, you got to see somebody. I see actually 3 different people. They don't have a cure for this. I've been getting ill and more ill, and I just from my meeting 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, I just wonder if me continuing getting medical treatment is the right option than to just, I don't know. I just, like I said in the beginning, I wasn't always vocal. I always try keeping to myself, and now I'm just vocal. I can't sleep, or I sleep too much. I want to eat. I don't want to eat.
Wow.
Yeah, I've been diagnosed with PTSD. And it just, I'm a lot of things I just don't care. I just don't care. So it pretty much, it changed who I am, period. It's who I am as a person. And like I said, most important, I'd be lying if I said I just wanted to move on. That's the truth.
I'm so sorry.
But like I tell doctors, do you want to live? No. Okay, if you say that to doctors, how am I not in a mental institute? Are you going to kill yourself? No. That's why. That's against my religion. But do I want to live? No. Kaylene was roughly 3 months into her pregnancy. I finally actually seen something come across.
You finally seen it. I was gonna get there, but I didn't want to cut you off. I definitely didn't want to cut you off.
Oh,
That's
no,
why I put it back up there. Yeah, and then, yeah.
But she was approximately 3 months into her pregnancy.
Oh, wow.
And she did have a test, home pregnancy test. And I was pushing her to go get her GED. And at the time, my wife didn't work. So we had it as though that we're just going to help her raise the baby so she could straighten up her life.
Was she? I'm so sorry.
Thank you.
Excuse my language. I want to curse, but I'm trying to be so, respectful towards you.
Oh, you see my posts.
Oh yeah.
The only reason why I do ... is because I always end up in Facebook jail. So I learned you
One of the
can't spell
curses.
out the word.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They
So,
really strict with Facebook and YouTube. Oh my gosh. But I'm gonna say that bastard needs to be behind bars.
yeah.
That's
Well, here's also the thing. I made a funny in that interview because I even made actually not interview, but during that meeting for Kaylene's case, and I said to the assistant district attorney, and my daughter Haley, of course, was wondering why I was saying this, and I always jag Haley. She's so book smart, but I tell her she has no common sense at times. I always make the joke, "Hey Haley," she loves reading, and I always say, "Hey Haley, did you ever write that book on common sense yet?"
how old is she?
She's 20 now, going to be
Oh.
21 next month. But I said, well, anyways, I'm sitting there and I said to the assistant district attorney, I said to him, I said, do you know how many people that Mano's actually wronged in his whole life? I said, if not hundreds. He goes, yeah, what are you getting at? What are you talking about? And like Haley, she's now looking at me. She's like, what are you talking about, Dad? I said, well, if anything would ever happen to him in life, you know I can't be the only suspect. I planted something into his head. You know how many people he's stolen off of? Like I said, he's got a conviction of statutory sexual assault
Right.
because he pleaded down from statutory rape.
Mm-hmm. Ooh.
Arson and all these thefts. So,
Working for somebody.
like I said, we actually ended up finding out he's working actually paid for the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. So everybody who is from Pennsylvania that vote in these type of people, remember that's where your tax dollar is going. Trust me, I'm not pushing politics on anyone. Just because I'm in politics doesn't mean I like it. I hate politics.
Right.
I'm in politics to even expose politicians and they're corrupt. So, yeah. Everyone just has to remember our taxpayer dollar in this state is going to a convicted felon so he can stay on the street so he can rat out someone else.
Have you gotten like any what can be done about this? I mean, this monster is walking the streets. He already admitted to unelected.
Well, the county of Allegheny County, some officials, law enforcement, and stuff have been being investigated. Unfortunately, had to add another department to that. I personally and one of my other elected official colleagues, we are setting up, we're going to be going to Harrisburg and then Washington, D.C. But unfortunately, all this stuff takes time. And then they get on like Congress floor and everything else. Everything takes time. So the best thing that I always tell people that I can only say is, just like with other families, right now, the only thing really anybody really can do at this point is just keep exposing the story, Kaylene's story. Because if you do not, you have to think about this could be your child next.
That's right. I always say that. Yeah. It could be our kids, it could be our friend, it could be anybody.
Or it could have already been your child. You didn't realize. Because they already found out that he had ties to a missing person in another state before Kaylene's.
What?
And the only reason why it was found out is because of Kaylene's case. Now, I am not liberty to actually discuss that case. There is a gag order on that case. But yes, there is, prior to Kaylene's missing persons case from another state, that he is a possible suspect in the disappearance because he was in that state for 3 months.
Before he moves to the
Well,
next.
he moves all the time. He has land in different states because there's a lot of times also he runs.
Are we talking about a serial killer on loose?
I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt it.
And
But
the system is.
But the law will say it's about proving, of course. You know, it's not proven. Oh, then the DA was also trying to tell me that no judge is going to go by what someone said on Facebook. And he contradicted him. So I looked right at him. I said, "Are you stupid?" Because, excuse me? I said, "Are you stupid?" I said, "He's already been convicted of selling the nude photos from the exact same account."
Basically, on Facebook, right?
So, like I said, that whole meeting, nothing added up. So that's why.
This is a shame.
Two people that I deal with, okay, a DEA agent and a Fed that I personally deal with. We deal all with each other face to face. We don't do anything online, nothing. I'm a man, I have a burner phone that locals and nobody knows that I have this burner phone and what the number is. That's how I contact them and how we, because of the case we're trying to build on people that are actually supposed to be here to serve and protect us. Or elected officials that are supposed to be here to guide us or be our voice. I hate it whenever I would go to my a local official, not mine, but up in Allegheny, and them try and say, "Well, we can't get involved. We can't do." Why not? You work for me. You were voted in. Right. You work for the person. And that's how my friends and colleagues up here do. Like, the only way I was able to get this meeting with the assistant district attorney, I had my district attorney from up here in Lawrence County to actually call the district attorney himself, Steven Zappala, to push for a meeting. That's a shame.
That's pitiful. That really is.
That was after 4 years. All that's been happening. That was the first time I seen them. And the district attorney himself, Steven Zappala, I apologize, didn't have a balls to come himself. He sent the assistant district attorney. So, of course, I wasn't happy on that one either.
What laws you think could change, could be better? Because I know every time, because I've done a lot of interviews, right?
Okay.
And it really bothers me when a family member says, I went to the police and I cannot get help.
Well, for one, I've been working on getting a bill passed. Of course, uh, in honor of Kaylene, I've been working on getting a national bill passed. Of course, everything's been so hard and everything else on getting this, but
Mm.
what I'm trying to do for it is like I'm trying to get that every county in the United States has a missing murdered person unit that solely just does just that and everything else, and a lot of different other things with federal funding and everything else. And that if someone goes ahead and calls or goes to a local police department right after they take the documents down, that police department has to go straight to this unit. So there's really a lot of laws that actually need changed.
Hmm.
And actually, a huge advocate is actually Ashton Kutcher. He does a lot for human trafficking.
Really?
Yeah, on Senate.
Oh.
On Senate floors and everything else. Like me personally, not my organizations, because I don't let, let's say, the bad man or woman, there's women also involved, know what I also do on the side. I've posted multiple different times whenever I'm done with a case, but if I go into like I'm working a different state at the moment, 2 states for human trafficking, a case, actually 2 cases on human trafficking.
Good for
Now,
you. We'll talk about that on here. Yeah.
what I don't do is I have more cases out there than I actually have like in my nonprofits. But cases that I go personally after human traffickers or drug traffickers, only one of the person's next to kin and just a Homeland Security agent know where I am and what I'm doing at times. And I take 2 of my dogs with me and everything else. Sometimes best backup is actually having 2 loyal dogs. Tell you the truth. And that's like my grand puppy. She was the one that, it's funny. She looks like a beagle. She's not. She's actually a pit.
Oh.
A lot of people don't realize that. They probably look at her and say, "Oh, a cute little fat beagle." She's not fat. She's got the pit. She's got the pit build, but she's got the beagle legs. Is what it is.
Look at her eyes. Woo. Let me ask you, by looking at this comment where Amber Richardson says Kaylee was found near Mano's family's father's property, did you ever talk to the father?
No. I'm not allowed to talk to the family.
Okay.
And of course, Mano called the police on me multiple times at this point. And I wasn't sticking up the middle finger. I was the pointer finger. But I've already been, at the time, threatened by Penn Hills Police. Like there was protests in front of his house that if I would have been there at the protests, that I would have been arrested. Doesn't matter. I didn't want to go to a protest anyways. I looked at a protest in front of his house as almost a waste of time. He don't care what he did. Everything else. So, but I don't know. I'm thankful that others were doing stuff like that and everything else for me. But I wouldn't talk to any of his family members personally. Only the fact also I don't trust myself.
Gotcha.
And this is my daughter. This is my baby.
That's right. Gotcha.
And tell you the truth, I'm not the one that found out that it was actually his property. And what peeved me off, no one found out until, not even the police, until after Kaylene's remains were found. And the person that found out, the Oehling Foundation, which is a nonprofit, I'm saying that, A, it's not me. It's actually my daughter and her best friend. They're the ones that found out it was actually by Pasquale Mano, which is Mano's father. The police didn't even know. So why didn't the police know of all the properties to go search whatever? Whenever my daughter was missing more than 3 years.
That's a shame.
The police didn't find out. I did. Through my daughter. They didn't know he's actually living in a home now in Vandergrift in a different name. I found that out and told them when they were looking for him to question him on something.
And you know, and that's the part right there, and that's the sad part. And that's the part that pisses me off a lot, because they have the families doing their job.
Yeah, and they're getting paid.
Right. Exactly.
That's like the other thing that whenever you said about what do I recommend to families, this is what I recommend to families. Do make sure you do the proper channel and you file missing persons police report. But after that, like I said, type in that name on social media, YouTube, whatever, missing and murdered, go that route. Because you'll, needless to say, you will hear stories like today on a person who has actually experienced it and who really cares about it because it's happened to them. Kaylene, Devontae Morgan, Amy Bracken, I can go on, Tony Turner, all these people in law enforcement eyes is a number. But to me, they're names.
It's a shame.
And I don't get paid for it. I don't even ask for fundraisers. I do it because the rest of my life, it's my job now.
I definitely commend you, and wow. I definitely understand. I haven't, lost a family member to the stuff that the families are going through, but I do understand and see why you fight so hard for this. I see every day that I do this, families come and say, I don't get help from the police. I don't get help from news media. It's not putting out my children's story.
The news didn't do a news report until April of 2020. Kaylene went missing January 10th.
Wow.
No, I can vouch for that. And they don't push stories. They do for a 1-year anniversary each year. Okay, then Joseph,
Yeah.
his case is on everybody's mind for 3 days. But then for 362 days, because the news doesn't go ahead and re-mention that story, because they'd rather mention stupid crap.
Yep.
Then his family is right back to square one for 362 more days.
Yeah. Well, I was just saying that to my fiance the other day. It was something on the news. It was some stupid crap on the news.
Yeah.
And I said, "You see this? This is what pisses me off." But when
Yep.
I see any family member or anybody that's trying to get justice on the news, no. But they posted, I forgot what it was on the news. They posted it was something so stupid. So
Yeah.
dumb. I was like,
You
unbelievable.
know, 2 years ago, maybe 2.5 years ago, a lot of people, I got backlash on, even family members, you know, even though they don't go sharing stuff anyways, on what I did on TikTok.
What?
I'm in bed the one day and I told my wife, I said, I got a problem. She goes, what's that? I said, you know how I always listen to reels whenever I need a laugh? I mean, I'm losing my mind every day.
Right.
So whenever I need a laugh on social media, I hit on funny reels. So on my TikTok page, I actually have a reason why I did this. And this is the reason why I did this. I opened up a TikTok account, knew nothing about it until then. And I put, at the time, I put Kaylene's flyer. And then I would put a funny skit next to it. A lot of people were him-hauling, you're making a joke out of your daughter, missing the. I said, no, I'm not. I said, you want to know what the problem is? I said, everybody on social media will go ahead and post something funny and stupid before they'll go ahead and post a missing person's flyer. Do you realize that within the first 6 months, Kaylene ended up getting over 250,000 followers because I did that. That was just in the first 6 months.
But you were right, though.
The only reason why I did that, there's no joke about my daughter or anybody's child.
That's right.
But I was proving a damn point.
Yeah.
I got on Kaylene's page,
Sad truth. Yep, Kathy.
2,700 followers. We're on TikTok. My video reviews now is over 1 million viewed.
It went viral.
That's why I did what I did.
I think that's viral, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it also, people will share it on Facebook and everything. That's why I did what I did.
Kathy B says sad, but the truth, sad truth.
Yeah.
Yep. It's the truth.
So, but finally, I was taking, like I said, a whole big backlash. So I did a video and I said, does people want to know actually why I did what I did? I said, this is why I did it.
Exactly why.
Because of all of you, and this is me on vocal. I said, because of all of you a-holes that are now watching my videos that didn't watch my videos whenever it was just of my daughter missing. You're the reason why I did it. That's what I said in the video.
People they won't share. They just go scrolling down. Next. You see a missing flyer and you won't share? A missing story and you won't share?
Yeah. Even
it's crazy.
My own blood family or Kaylene's mother's side of blood, you know, and even other families that I advocate for, you don't even at times see family members sharing it. Man, if my mom was alive, Oh my goodness gracious. There will be a lot of people in my family getting whooped on. Not sharing every day, every minute that you're on. But you can go ahead and share a stupid meme.
Mm-hmm.
That's like at times some stupid memes. I take it off. I put it up in my flyaways and I put hashtag justice for Kaylene Oehling to try to get the people that are following this meme
Yeah.
the hashtag.
What memories do you have of your baby girl?
Oh my goodness gracious. Question is, what memories don't I have? Like I said, I took the girls always to. It's funny. I'm not into sports, but I am if we go to it and everything else. So, whenever Kaylene, Haley, and I, we would go to like underclassmen wrestlers, would all be taken. Whenever we would be taking a picture, we're all looking at it. Or baseball game. Kaylene, I one of the things that I always will remember, of course, besides everything,
Yeah.
for Kaylene's
And I meant to
birthday.
say, not to say you don't have. I meant to, you know
Oh
what I
no,
mean.
no, I know.
Yeah.
No, I know.
What
We
do you do
always
that,
for her birthday went to Pirates games. Not that we liked the Pirates, because neither of us did.
You said the Pirates?
Yeah. not that we even like baseball. But it was something Kaylene and I did every year for her birthday. And we would go anywhere in the stadium, never the same seat. So, of course, I'll remember that. Well, anyways, Monster Jam, looking into the camera. What I'm getting at is, now when we would go to a Pittsburgh Penguin game,
Pittsburgh.
You have Kaylene and Haley looking at the camera, and you have me looking straight at the ice. That's the only sport where my kids don't get my attention. Well, last year, a memory, a big memory that I'm also gonna really have with Kaylene is actually last year. Of course, after Kaylene's remains were found, since Kaylene and I always went to park games, I took my wife to a park game. Now, we got a tour of the park. We got to also meet players, and also up on Kaylene's shelf, memorial shelf, we got the chance to meet the coach. Now, he found out why we were there. And he of course thanked my wife and I for being there and everything else, and being able to spend the day with them. But he asked for, I got him one of Kaylene's prayer cards, and he said that he was going to put it on his desk and everything else. But he made sure for next to Kaylene's urn, he first signed it, and then I got the signatures for Kaylene. So that's going to be one of the memories I'm going to have, that I did that, and I don't care about mediocre, illegal stuff, and I'll even just say it on it. I spread her ashes on that field.
Okay.
That's illegal.
No.
But it's also illegal to kill my daughter, but be walking the streets. That's how I look at it. So I wanted to make sure that Kaylene was always going to be at that park.
Aw.
But yeah, remembering stuff is, you know, one of the biggest things that I'm always going to remember, and I always do remember about Kaylene, is personality-wise, she reminded me of my mom.
Hmm.
Even if we were fighting and everything else or arguing,
Oh, I think he froze. Oh, there you go. There you go. You froze.
hello?
Yeah, there you go.
Are you there?
Can you hear me? Let me take the other one down.
Can't hear you.
All right, can you hear me? There you go. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I love how it says you're in the show. Everyone can hear and see you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear
Because I
me?
can't hear you.
Oh, maybe check your mic.
No, my mic's on.
No. Oh, you're muted now. All right. Right now. Can you hear me now? You can't hear me? Go in and come back. Yeah, I was going to say go in and come back out. Very sad, right, y'all? Yeah, I only have a few more things, guys, and then we'll end it. His daughter sound like such a beautiful, beautiful soul. Oops. All right. You good?
Still can't hear you.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
What? It's not you.
I don't even know what happened. I wasn't even holding my phone at that time.
Oh,
I just,
no.
everything exited out.
Can you hear me now?
Sorry, I can't hear you. And I can't read lips either.
I don't know what happened. Let me see.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Well, to finish with that, like I said, one of the biggest things that I'm always, and that I always miss, of course, not just missing Kaylene, period, but how Kaylene would let you, if you were Kaylene's family, whether you guys were arguing, she would always had your back no matter what. And no matter what. And she just, not only did she love to be loved, she made everyone that was close to her feel loved as well.
Wow. Are you still not hearing me though? Oh.
I hope your followers can hear you because I can't.
Yeah. Can y'all hear me? Kathy
Yeah, like I
B.
said, mic's on, chat, all the above.
If y'all can hear me in the comments, just say yes.
Now, if you had more questions, are you able to type maybe?
Yeah, I could type. What part of the victim apathy? Let me see. I hear both. Together says she can hear both of us. Oh man, it's
Ha. That's a good question because I can't go ahead and say nothing because, in my opinion, everything always needs improvement, especially for victim advocacy. Um, what I think needs some improvement is maybe as a whole, there should be maybe, let's say, courses and classes that advocates can take and everything else to get more educated and keep fresh with education on being an advocate for others.
okay.
She said they can hear both, but for
Yes.
some odd reason, I can't hear you. You're not on mute.
Oh no.
And my phone's all the way up. So I apologize. Mic's on, Cam, chat, more. Yeah. I'm feeling hurt, betrayed, that my daughter is a victim twice by the person who murdered her and by the justice system that doesn't help her properly. So pretty much I feel numb about everything. And most important, just hurt and betrayed. This is officials that we all should be able to depend on.
That's right.
And we can't.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a good question. I feel let down about it all. Because in a way, it makes me feel as though I let my child down. Because I don't know, I fight and fight and fight, but then I look at and have a meeting like I did 3 weeks ago, and whenever law enforcement and officials let me down with Kaylene's case, it just makes me feel as though that I let Kaylene down.
Oh wow, I'm so sorry. And you doing
What
this?
can we do for you? Like I was saying earlier, unfortunately, with Kaylene's case, just as much exposure as can be. People can also call, put pressure on maybe the Allegheny County District Attorney's office, because Kaylene's case is actually not the only murder case that Allegheny County District Attorney's Office is sitting on signing paperwork. There's more cases out there that actually I'm an advocate to 2 of them. So.
Wow.
There, just what can do pretty much to help is just as much exposure, but not just for Kaylene's case, for others, because I know families appreciate as much help as they can get.
Yeah. Wow. Do anybody else have anything they want to say before we close?
And thank you for letting me share Kaylene's case. I mean, it means a lot to me, and Kaylene's case needs shared with everybody else's also.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and I don't want people out there also thinking it can't happen to you. Because trust me, I always thought it couldn't happen to me and my family.
That's right. That's right, y'all.
Thank you very much.
Oops.
Not that I can think of, other than we all just need to stand together and help each other, and especially be there for families. Because the more voices the missing and murder have, the better it's going to be for families. And that's just about it. We all just actually, an old colleague of mine used to always say, strengths in numbers. And I believe in that. Strength is in numbers. We all just need to be there for each other and to help each other and to help expose corruption.
Yep, for sure.
Thank you so very much for sharing Kaylene's story.
You're welcome.
And thank you, everybody, for listening.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I will send you, like I said, those news feeds.
Yes. Yes.
I definitely will send you those.
Okay.
But thank you so very much.
All right. Thank you. Have a good night. Thank you,
Have
Brooklyn.
a good night as well.
Good
Thank
night.
you. You as well.
Okay. Thank you, Brooklyn Squad, for joining. Oh, I think I'm getting sick, y'all. My throat right here. Thank you, and great interview again. Thank you so much, Kathy B. Thanks everyone for joining. Please share this video. Please share any video that you see out there with his daughter's case in it, even if it's a poster or anything that he puts out there. just share it. Share it, share it, share it. It's very important. And guys, just be safe out there. Please be safe out there. It could happen to any one of us. You know what I mean? With that, everyone, please have a safe and blessed night. Good night. I hope not, right? I know, but you never know. Keep God first. That's what I do. Good night, Kathy. Good night, y'all.